Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Ha! Hi. I'm sorry. I'm loath to even bring it up. I don't think that's a real good, is it? Someone has sent me a visual depiction of a runway drag queen throwing shade at
because she does
the thing with the fan probably is like get her out of the picture.
Yeah, right.
Throwing shade. She literally is throwing shade.
Well, or you might say another thing that we would say in a more vernacular sense is attitude. Like
yeah.
That look like, who are you?
Yeah.
You're a tramp.
Oh, funny. Okay, we won't go there again, although that was, I love. I'm afraid I'm going to forget the term because I'm looking for an opportunity to use it. So, yesterday was all about what? Selfies and throwing shade.
Well, it's interesting because it's about, if you look at it, throwing shade is just the absolute difference from, let's say, Victorian. You just remain, even if someone is trash, you're sort of, how do you do?
Uh-huh.
And now it's like,
it's right out there.
And a selfie the same way, although people said, oh, yes, it was really a public celebration. It wasn't the funeral. But when the President of the United States and some German broad.
Danish Prime Minister.
Oh, well.
She's the head of the country.
Oh, she was.
She's the head of the.
Oh my!
Oh, what a sexist assumption.
Well, I guess it was.
That was a head of state. They don't make heads of state like they used to.
Well, that
was a blonde
had
babe.
A bouffant.
She had a lovely blonde. It was not bouffant.
It wasn't?
No,
yes, it was.
It was not. Bit. It was more like my style. It was straight.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
Well, welcome.
Know about these things.
Oh my
you
God.
Don't.
Welcome to the Bickersons.
The Bickersons. That's right. Forgot about that.
Well, it was before our time, I believe.
Well, no, not really, but
it wasn't.
Well, I think it was like in the 50s, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, but it was something that our parents knew about. But that's the only reason we would have known. In the wake of Western leaders taking a selfie at Nelson Mandela's memorial, there's a strict rule being enforced for the people filing in to view his body lying in state. No mobile phones are allowed.
Well, especially if you wait for 3 hours, I can see where you might want one.
Oh, my gosh.
But I could just see someone saying, hey, I'm standing here. Shall I say hello to Nelson for you?
Well, because people don't know how to behave anymore.
They don't.
And they don't. Let's just put it that way.
What's more sort of philosophically interesting is over and above the sort of silliness of it, it's this notion, I think, like if you go and you see the Taj Mahal or you go and see the pyramids, somehow it's not enough that you are there and you're communing with this great work of art or you're at a great event like Mr. Mandela's memorial. You have to encapsulate it in some kind of
You have to freeze
memento.
It. You have to freeze it.
Freeze it, but it's a memento like to show other people. Like I was.
But you never do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't. I mean, there are people who just have to. What is it with? Forgive what's going to sound racist. What is it with the Asians? Taking pictures. Constantly. And stupid pictures. I mean, pictures where I've seen, where they're standing in front of some nondescript nothing, a building, and they got to take a picture. And then you might go
If this you see, remember
and
me.
then,
If this you see, remember me. Partly, let me put a personal thing.
And a stage stupid.
I had an aunt Catherine, and her maiden daughter, Marion. And they traveled. They didn't go to Taj Mahal, but they traveled in this country, etc. Maybe to Canada. That was exotic as they got. And they'd always show pictures, which my family would sort of loathe.
Would have to sit through.
But I remember at one point, even as a child, I said, well, we all know what the Lincoln Memorial looked like. Why do we have to see, like, Aunt Catherine and Marion standing in front of it? Blocking the image of the...
Well, but you know what it
But it was about them.
It was about them being there.
Yes.
Right. I was here. I can understand that. I've taken pictures like that. I was here at this iconic place. But when the place is not iconic,
well, no, that's true.
I don't know. Why are you taking this picture? And when are you ever going to look at it?
Kiku and Mikio standing in front of
it's just it's mind blowing to me. Anyway, whatever. Welcome.
Well, I think maybe it's a way. I'm sorry to add one more thing. It's like inserting yourself in a Picayune way into history. I think that is partly
Have you
it.
never taken a picture of yourself at a historic place?
Rarely.
I'm
really
trying
rarely.
to think if there's any pictures of me at historic places. There is one at the Lincoln Memorial.
Okay.
That was taken with my son and my mother. And I did want a catalog, remembering that we took that trip to get... Remember when we took the train from Pittsburgh...
Well, now, did you do the final
again.
awful thing of them making it into your holiday card? When people take those pictures? I just got one of two friends on top of some hillock in the moors in Scotland.
Yeah.
Or now, part of it, I think, also is there's the memorial thing and the memento thing, but also... we're here and you're not. In a very subconscious way, I think.
I don't know. Well, when people do those compilations of their families and stuff, that they are proudly saying, and here's my wonderful family, and here's what we did this year, and maybe there is some. I don't. You know. You sound like my brother now, always ascribing the worst motives to every...
I don't mean like in a terrible, mean way, like I can afford a Ferrari and you can't. But sort of like, oh, we were there, but like, well, you can, what's the word? Be jealous of us on our fabulous vacation. There's a teeny bit of that somehow. I made it to the top before you did, kind of thing.
Jess, did you have that feeling when I showed you my pictures from Scotland this year? That I was saying, ha ha, no. Look at this house I stayed in, and you weren't even there. I just want to, I know.
All right, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you might be right with certain people doing it, but no, I think generally I'm giving people a break here.
Okay.
It's not like you had a slideshow.
I didn't have a slideshow. I just wanted...
Well, that's all right. Well, good for you on that.
And I'm such an idiot. I go to Scotland, and all I came back with are pictures, close-ups of flowers. That's what... right? They're almost all flowers. I couldn't believe the flowers there. They were like...
That's much more individual about your... Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
More individual about your experience than another picture of, some famous monument.
And
Robbie
here
Burns.
I am in front of the Firth.
Yeah, right. Hibiscus beneritos. Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, I haven't said hello. Hello.
After all
and
that.
welcome to the Thursday edition of whatever this is. And it's a neat little 12-12 for your date.
Oh, that's right.
Uh-huh. And I guess we should give the first heads up about our whereabouts during the holiday season. Jess.
Oh, yes.
Jess and I always wanted to look for any opportunity to sleep in. Have decided to take, what is it? Christmas? We're not here on Christmas Eve?
No, you took off the whole week.
I took that week off?
Yeah, you took off.
All right. Okay. So we're not here Christmas week, and then we'll come back
23rd.
January 2nd.
January 2nd, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Nothing's happening.
No, exactly.
No, it's hard to do shows
People
during
will
that
be
period.
sitting
Yeah,
at the hearth, drinking Jack Daniels with a teeny bit of eggnog in it.
Right. So next week is our last full week until the new year. Okay. So, what we got here? All right, everybody to Uruguay.
Why?
Hey!
Why?
Uruguay. Why Uruguay? You know, hey. Is it a landlocked nation? It's one of the, I think, is it Paraguay?
Paraguay is landlocked.
Is landlocked?
I have to admit, I've been to Uruguay. It
Well,
is
have you?
extremely boring.
Yeah, there's nothing much happening there.
No,
But there will
it's
be more
extremely
happening
boring.
now because
Why?
it became the first country to totally legalize marijuana. As a matter of fact, they not only legalized it, this is what happens when you
They be selling it.
they elected a lefty, obviously a pot-smoking lefty, and he just thought, hey, all right, we're doing this.
Tourism will just...
No, it won't. See, because here's what it does. It legalized the cultivation, sale, and use of marijuana. It created a state-regulated market with prices set by the government and allowing pharmacies to sell as much as 1.4 ounces a month. That's a lot of smoking.
It is?
Yeah. I hate to sound like an expert on this.
Is that like a nickel bag?
A nickel bag is for $5.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Isn't it, Jess? Wouldn't that be a nickel bag?
Yeah.
$5 worth.
Okay.
Yeah, which ain't much.
Did I say what the 1.4 would cost? Is that what you're getting to?
No, I'm not getting to what it costs. I don't know. 1.4 ounces of marijuana a month to registered users. So you have to register with the government, and you can go get it. And you have to be over 18, and you have to be a resident of Uruguay.
Well, what's interesting about that is, though, if it is not illegal, why would you have to be a registered user?
I think because they don't want anyone buying too much because
Well, they
then
could
they
limit you
they
per-
could sell it.
Oh, no, I understand that part.
I don't know. I haven't thought
Because now,
about it.
by legalized use, they don't mean you have to use it medicinally. Just you use
No,
it.
use it however you damn well please.
Well, it will make Uruguay much more exciting.
Right? Oh, stop it.
Well, it really is. All
Wait,
the
I'm being
Latin
beaten up on by gay men.
Oh, dear.
Aaron writes in, it was a bouffant.
No, really.
Do you not think it was? It wasn't. The women don't think so. Why do gay men always think they know more about women?
Because we do.
You do not.
Yes, we do.
I always thought it was very odd that
I'll
most
ring with
designers of women's clothes were men. And gay ones usually, right? Well, what the
Often.
hell do you know about what a woman wants?
I don't care what you want. It's what you look good.
Jeez. And that's really why I always thought that models had to be, like these waif-thin,
Well, that's only
androgynous
recently.
because, I don't know,
No,
because they look
well-
more like the bodies of adolescent boys.
No. Well, all right.
Blah, blah, blah,
Psychologically, maybe for some.
Yes.
But I mean, no, that's not always true. You look back to the 50s, and they were very voluptuous and curvaceous. No, it's recently. I completely agree with you. This sort of Biafran look.
The Biafran look.
Yeah.
Just disgusting.
You
All
imagine
right.
them walking down in these beaded frocks with a wooden
Well,
bowl.
stop it. Now stop it. You're going to go right into some very, maybe. And Aaron also writes, per Tom's recommendation, I watched Paris is Burning last night. I should probably have my gay card pulled, as usual, for not having seen it before, but it was good. I think you would really like it and find it fascinating, especially if you look at it with a sociological eye. Thank you, Tom.
Well,
Paris is Burning, and that
fabulous.
came into the throwing shade thing. It's about a place and time in New York City, a documentary.
Well, it's very funny. One thing further about it, and this may make other people interested in it. Partly this one ball, which is basically a drag festivity, the big thing was come dressed as your what you would like to be and you think is totally out of your kin. And of course, most of these drag queens came as, Lana Turner and blah, blah, blah. But one person came, this young black drag queen, as a white businessman. And I thought that was so sort of tragic because the question was,
What
for
would you-
him, being a white businessman was just out of his possibility and kin as being Marilyn Monroe. And so there's all that, and that this bonding thing, although the silliness of the frou-frou and that, was that a lot of these kids had been thrown out of their families, and these houses were literally like their homes in many instances. So it's a very profound film.
Mary writes, I check urbandictionary.com frequently. That's where people went to. I mean, that's where, if you, excuse me, listen to the two of us.
Cancer board.
No.
More.
That is where, if you hear a phrase and you don't like throwing shade,
right.
that's where you're going to get your answer. UrbanDictionary.com, even though you're so up on things, you knew it already.
Oh.
The words, she says, are hilarious, even though the opportunity to use them really doesn't come too often. Sometimes while listening to the Read podcast, I have to look things up. For example, she showed up with all her edges showing. Or she came with all her edges showing. What does that mean? Attitude?
I guess I've never heard that one.
Jess doesn't know it either. It's a general put down, meaning someone's weave. Oh, that someone's weave was bumpy. She came with all her edges showing. So that's a put down of her hair. And you could determine the difference between natural hair and the weave. So it didn't, okay.
Right.
I don't even think they use it literally. It's just a way to say someone is low class. The guy on the Read uses that one a lot. She came with all her edges showing. Incidentally, my neighbor threw shade saying my leaves were blowing into his yard. He totally did. Well, I've often talked about this.
That's not really throwing shade.
No.
Throwing shade is usually not even factual, but it's something
What?
bitchy.
Yeah.
And it's usually about something unimportant, like the first thing about your weave being bumpy.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like, honey, your weave is so bumpy, I'd get sick driving over it or something like that.
I would only hope that a neighbor who said your leaves are blowing in my yard is sort of joking. I mean, because
Yeah, who can stop
the
them?
wind determines where leaves fall. You know, it can be your tree, but your neighbor rakes the leaves. That's what happens to me a lot. It's just, I hope your neighbor was kidding. That's all I can say. And Mary also says, watch Paris is Burning immediately. It's on Netflix. I saw it more than 20 years ago, but I've never forgotten one boy's speech comparing a prostitute to a housewife. Everyone is dead now.
AIDS-related and drug-related, yeah.
There are clips on YouTube. Madonna completely stole the entire Vogue video choreography from Willie Ninja.
Yeah, he was a very famous choreographer.
And I
for
bet she
these.
didn't give him a dime.
Yeah.
The woman who made that film never did much else. I hate it when greatness appears and then disappears like a sunset. Floss every day. Mary.
That's pretty good.
Well, thank you, Mary.
No, you're absolutely right. The film's fabulous.
Okay, well, I'll have to find time in between going insane over Breaking Bad to watch it.
And then watch, what do you call it, Paris Burning, and then watch Going My Way. Talk about two sides of America.
Isn't there's a Hollywood film called
I'm trying to
Paris
remember.
Burning with big stars
Yeah,
in
there's
it.
some about
And it's about the
Second World War.
Nazis.
Yeah,
right.
and there's a reason, but I can't remember why that's...
No, and when you said that's what I thought of.
Yeah,
Because there is
it's based on- and that's in shade. Very often has to do with these sort of campy gay references to Mildred Pierce, and like a drag queen will call herself Mildred Pierce, and that sort of thing. Not that I know so much about what do you call it, drag culture, but it's fascinating.
Well, you probably know more than I do.
Well, maybe.
Do you know what the term, if you call somebody I want to know if anyone knows this. If you call somebody a Jackson White.
Jackson White.
Anybody?
Well, it would either be Andrew Jackson or Jesse Jackson.
No,
I'm not
wrong,
sure.
wrong.
Jesse Jackson.
No.
Oh, no,
No
Michael Jackson.
No particular Jackson.
Oh, okay.
You call someone a Jackson White. It is a specific derogatory term for a rather small ethnic group that is, according to the New York Times today, up in arms over the film shot here in Braddock that we were talking about the other day, out of the furnace.
Oh, right.
And their chief, I'm looking at his picture right here.
Oh, it's a Native American?
It's Native Americans. Really? And a derogatory term for this particular tribe, which is the Ramapo.
Oh, yeah.
Ramapo Mountain Indians. Well, they are. They're up in the Appalachians, but they said overlooking. Essentially, you can see New York City from where.
Because I know there's a city in New Jersey called Ramapo.
It overlooks the Manhattan skyline. Their little stretch, and in fact, the movie, which I thought was set here, is not set here. It's sort of set around, they call it, in the movie they mentioned Bergen County, which is New Jersey. And apparently in the movie, and I haven't seen it, this tribe is talked about a lot and it portrayed in a very negative light as like sort of mountain hillbillies, which is something that they've dealt with all their lives and that they're inbred and all that kind of stuff. And one of the derogatory terms for them is Jackson White, and amazingly, it said that several cast members, I guess in the credits, are listed as Jackson White. And he's this guy, the chief, said it is equivalent to the N-word. What?
Really?
The film, here's the chief. The film contains ugly stereotypes that have stained us for life. The undertones are racist and personal. It is a hate crime when you look at the psychological impact on our children of this film. He said, since the film's been out, several of the kids at the high school have been taunted, being called Jackson White because of the movie, which has resurrected, I guess, a lot of ugliness. The term Jackson White,
that's what I was getting at,
is a slur used by outsiders to deride the Ramapos, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and it references the tribe's descent from Native Americans, whites, and runaway slaves who settled in the mountains in the late 18th century. The term dredges up decades of a long, ugly history of discrimination and marginalization. And I would imagine, a lot of blacks have the name Jackson, and then they also have the name White, and who knows? Jackson.
But I'm sure that kind of, where they were, and these people were there together, particularly living in these enclaves.
But who, isn't that interesting?
You said 18th century, I noticed that, as opposed to the 1700s.
I said it because I was looking at the New York Times.
Who knows how to date something?
I guess I do that. I think I've told you I do that because
people don't understand.
If you say 18th century, people hear 18 and then they're thinking 1800s. True, yeah. So I like to go right to where I'm putting them right where they need to be.
Well, that's true. You're a very good journalist, which I am not.
But I think this is interesting because apparently the guys who made the movie had, I guess it's not intentional. It's what they did was in ignorance.
When I was listening to this, it is ignorance. But the interesting thing is, if you're going to make something about a period, historical, number one.
Do your research?
No. But like if you did that, what was the slave movie? 12 Years Before.
12 Years a Slave.
They used the N-word. Well, that's what they would have used in that period. And that's what added to the drama and viciousness of that movie. And in the same way, if this is what a good bit of people within this rural hidden enclave say, if you're going to be true to that story, etc. Because from what I'm told, it's about this kid who worked in the mills, and then he doesn't want to work in the mills because you see what's happened to his brother and his dead father or something. So he goes into Appalachia and does these fights where they almost fight to the death.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what this is about.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And so the question is, you think that gaming, if you want to call it that, is vicious and horrible and bestial and uncivilized. And if you're going to talk about that, then you have to have the veracity of
Right.
using the terms.
Well, but this guy's saying this is a total
I'm sure it is
representation
of
of
their
their
whole
culture and
tribe.
their lives,
I'm sure that's
and,
true,
and
but-
that their tribe is not recognized by the federal government as a Indian nation. It's
Maybe because of the bloodlines?
Maybe it's recognized by New Jersey and by New York State.
Oh, I see.
But is not recognized by the feds, which I'm sure has further probably marginalized and created.
I wonder if that's also, I'd be curious to know, is it recognized by the
larger Native American population?
Yeah, exactly. Tribal council or whatever it may be called. Because, I mean, there's a great sense, I know, among, many people, about the sort of sense of purity. And if they are indeed 1/3 white, 1/3 black, then they're sort of mongrels of sorts.
No, but if you've been to any kind of tribal anything now, especially, I think in the South and the East, people who say they're Native American often look black, often look white.
Oh, sure.
The
Well, 'cause they're
intermarriage
just-
was
of course,
incredible.
of course.
So I mean, it doesn't. Hello, caller.
Hi guys, it's PJ from Greensburg.
Yeah.
Hey, you churned up a memory of an article I read in the New Yorker magazine. So I did a quick internet search and I found it. All you have to do is, if anybody wants it, it's a really good article, quite lengthy also. Just type in New Yorker magazine Jackson White, and there's an article from March 1st, 2010.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That is it talks about everything you're talking about, and it intertwines it with them running up against the authorities in the area. And, there's all kinds of stories, like some of them are albinos. There are all kinds of derogatory things, like they're albinos and they're inbred.
Inbred, yeah,
You
there's a
know,
lot
really,
to do with it. Right.
Sorry?
No, I agree that the inbreeding thing is what really freaks them out. But
yeah, if anybody wants to, and I can even send you the link for it. But it's just type in New Yorker magazine and Jackson White,
White.
and it's about the
thank you.
third search down. But it's a really great article that talks about everything.
Right. And PJ, I saw an email where you mentioned Chris Rock's film Good Hair, which I totally recommend as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's just, I just love that, and then you guys always do this well, is that conjuring up little side things that go on, in realities that so many of us don't have contact with, that are really just, they're their own thing that's going on,
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So, okay, good
Thank
job,
you.
guys. See ya.
Thank you. And we got to take a break, in fact. Okay? We shall return.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to the all-new BergBargains.com for the best deals on holiday gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. Log on now for great deals from Atria's, Fair Day, Rock Bottom, and Quantum Theater. Supplies are limited. The all-new BergBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
I'll still throw shade.
Whoops. Are we back?
Back.
We're back. Okay. Yeah, so I love the imposter sign language guy at the... And I think... we mentioned this, but we weren't on air when we were talking.
No.
Okay, so I didn't watch much of it, but I saw a little bit, and the part I saw, well, I guess it was a clip they showed of Obama doing it, and I noted with interest that there was a sign language interpreter, and I thought, you know what? And I bet Nelson
we
Mandela.
don't do that
well, we do
all
it.
the time.
Oh, I think we do now.
Really?
So Nelson Mandela, I thought, was such a person bringing everybody together.
All inclusive,
And my
right.
first reaction was, of course.
How wonderful, yeah.
Yes, of course there would be. And then I couldn't help but I noticed the guy because he didn't seem like all the others. I find they're.
Well, it's as if he kept saying the same word.
Well, I find it fascinating. And I sometimes look, and one of the things is that they're often very animated because
sometimes what they
show
do is
they show emotion.
Because it's very interesting. I had a friend whose parents were deaf almost from birth, so that he grew up from very early age almost interpreting. And very often they would, even when he was doing sign language, he would be mouthing.
Yes.
Because
so you're mouthing, you're showing emotion, you're using your body, you're doing all this stuff.
But you feel like saying, my God, for the office of the president in South Africa, there have to be how many deaf people? There has to be a huge organization. Where did they pick this schnook?
How did he get? That's the. I mean, that for the biggest, audience ever.
International.
And he stood up there for the 4-hour thing.
Yeah.
With all these heads of state right next to him, and doing his, little thing.
Dance,
and
almost.
I think it's a riot. Although I guess the deaf community is outraged because it is
number one,
their
they would have
language.
wanted to hear
well, yes, but it's also
it's
mockery.
Like is if one stood up there and spoke pidgin
blah
English.
blah 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 blah.
Right.
It's mocking their language. ASL, American Sign Language, is extremely difficult to learn. Mm-hmm. Very few people who don't, because of their personal circumstances, ever manage it.
Well, there are two kinds. There's the American, and then there's an international one, which is a little easier.
Yeah. But actually, there was the Post-Gazette did a story recently about I believe, the only doctor in town, is that possible? Am I remembering that right? Who is very fluent in American Sign Language. And she happens to be a friend of mine. Oh, okay. And she's been on this program, actually, in other guises, Dr. Deborah Gilboa. And, I mean, can you imagine you go to a doctor and you can't communicate?
Well, unless you always have to do it with an
interpreter,
cipher, so to speak, or interpreter. And then sometimes there are things that you might be embarrassed to speak to an interpreter about. Or if it's your mother, let's say, rather than...
Mary's explaining why Out of the Furnace all of a sudden was in Bergen County. I was confused about that. She says the main characters, like, I guess, Christian Bale live in North Braddock. They get involved with people who run a gambling racket and meth ring in the New Jersey hills. These people are referred to as inbreds over and over in the movie. I did not realize they were a specific ethnicity.
Well, some of them may be, because it said it's not that
everyone
in the Jersey Hills
but
is
quite clearly. So if you're, oh man, that's that's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Well, I mean, I look forward to more on the in interpreter. And by the way, I was asking the question. I was stunned that the stadium was not full, and people said, "Well, I mean, it was pelting rain, and blah blah blah." And I said that to me that wouldn't even enter in. For a person of such extraordinary stature who was so beloved, people wouldn't care if it was raining. You wouldn't. You would want to be there. And I finally stop with your naysaying all the time.
No, I wasn't going to be naysaying. No. What I want to say, because I was talking about this about art the other day, but it's the same thing. I think for many people, younger people, and this is a naysaying, you old bag.
The Bickersons.
Yes. No. That for younger people, the digital experience is just as real as now, you and I might not feel that, given our heritage.
Okay, but there aren't enough older people.
There's older people who can't.
No, but there's people in between those younger people. If you're arguing age, that could certainly have filled that stadium. Maybe, it just doesn't make sense to me. And here's the first indication I have of what possibly went wrong.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, 24 hours and more after the event itself, the South African government still cannot even explain who hired that guy, where he was. I mean, it's so inept. And but that he, in fact, might have breached security checks. It could be that nobody even expected him to be there. Who knows? Well, that'll be found out. But they said people in South Africa are stunned by this, and it adds to the perception of sloppiness in preparations following Mandela's death. And it says many South Africans who had wanted to attend the memorial complained that public transportation had totally failed them.
Wow.
Buses never came, blah, 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 blah. There, I think, is a reason. They couldn't get there. And you got to figure that security, because of all the, roads must have been clogged up by the VIP types. Must have been very hard for a regular human being to do it, and I'm going to guess that, again, it's this inability. But there's no excuse when you knew Mandela was dying for literally years not to have...
Well, there have to be reasons in law when you have to have a sign language interpreter.
Well, I just think that, knowing you were going to do a big bash, that could have been in the plan. It's not like every newspaper outlet did not have, or television network did not have a big obituary ready to go.
Of course.
You just...
Well, it's very interesting. What it tells you, there was something, what was it about? There was something about war recently someplace. And the thing they talked about was the fact that what we have going for us, or what many of the major nations in the world have going for it, is that we have an incredible, sometimes it's strangling, but infrastructure that we are thinking, like 2 years ago, writing the obituary about Obama, about Mandela. And that's what you do. As government, that's what you do. And many of these emerging nations, which South Africa still is, don't have that. Although, in terms of the guy coming in, remember, what was it, just 2-3 years ago, when that couple from Washington
walked into the White House.
Yeah,
it can be done. Apparently, much to the total embarrassment of the powers that be. There is it, because did you mention soldiers or war just now, and it popped into my head. There is a piece in the Wall Street Journal, I believe, today, that is big and is such a piece of history that has never before been published that you don't want to know. And what it's about is the Veterans Administration after World War II lobotomizing thousands of
returning GIs
of our soldiers
who came back.
PTSD.
But now we know scars. Yeah, right, exactly, with modern wars. Well, they used to lobotomize tons of people.
Do you know it was a guy,
50s.
the big lobotomist, the guy that pushed all this, and his name was Freeman, and there's a picture of him in this piece. I don't think the piece mentioned his Pittsburgh connection, but I believe the big lobotomy guy, was a Pittsburgh guy.
Wow.
I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong about that, but I think I remember reading that before. This story will rip your heart out. And what I think when I see a story like that, it's not like they were trying to hurt these guys. They thought they were helping them.
Well, no, I understand. Many people who suffered from depression and schizophrenia were lobotomized. It was a very
it helped a few people.
What was the other thing they used to do? Well, they still do it today. Electric shock, yeah.
That's still used. But the other thing they did to these poor guys, they subjected them to these like almost fire hoses of hot water, then cold water, then they called it some bizarre, sounded like a torture device.
Yeah.
I mean, and yet this was medical doctors and the government doing this to returning people who had survived the horrors of that war, came back in need of help, and this is what they got.
Well, I'm sure
they got their brains sliced open. But my thought is, what are we doing now?
Oh, not much more.
What are we doing now that in 30, 40 years they'll do an expose in whatever online thing is the the big go-to journalistic source.
Right.
And it'll be about this primitive, crazy thing that we did now to people suffering from this, that, and the other
Well, it's very interesting. If you ever have been, you just were last weekend, weren't you, to Philadelphia?
Yeah.
I really recommend this to all our
that
listeners.
museum.
The Mutter Museum. And that's exactly what it is. It's a museum of older medical devices which look like something out of Papua New Guinea. And it's very interesting because I have a friend who loves sort of taxonomies and medical deformities, and he's photographed there. But it's interesting because it's very, very popular with the world. I mean, they get lots of visitors. But it comes under the aegis of the Philadelphia College of Physicians. And they, about 10 years ago, I think it was, wanted to close it down for just the point you were hinting at, which was that, we're sort of not mocking, but by having this, it shows how doctors are not always at the forefront.
They're not all-knowing.
Right. And that we may look with our treatments of X drugs. I remember thalidomide,
Well, it is true. So you wonder, I mean, and it just gives you pause because because we're vulnerable when we need medical care, and we'd like to think that, they know what they're doing. They don't at the time.
Well, that's it.
This is what we thought. Or bleeding people,
or
this and that. You look at how people used to die of nothing because of how stupid medicine was, and believe me, still is on a lot of counts. We just won't know about them until another generation or two or three, and then they'll look at us like we were, stark raving nincompoops.
Well, I think with all of those, with shock therapy and then the water and all that, I think it was that notion of if a hideous, unnatural, shocking event or course of events got you into this, a similar kind of, the cold water and the pressure, etc., might be able to do. Now it's sort of just the opposite. You knock the people out so they're almost comatose.
Well, they said they stopped the lobotomies when a pharmaceutical came in that could control these people better, and that was Thorazine.
Which people still take.
Yeah, and that made people into zombies.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Shuffling zombies.
Well, that's why, I've known many people who have that problem. They will go off their drugs because they hate that zombie-like feeling, but then they go off their drugs, and the schizophrenia, whatever, goes.
Man. I forgot what I was going to say. Well, here's a headline that may soon be coming south of the border. Canada to stop delivering mail to city homes.
What does that mean? Do you have to go to a post box or something?
They're gonna stop it. They're the Canadian Postal Service, which, by the way, who founded the Canadian Postal Service? You will never in a million years get this.
Tony Fields. I don't know.
Right.
Well, you said that when I'm the most ridiculous person I could think of.
It just didn't make sense when I first heard it.
Abraham Lincoln. I don't know.
Benjamin Franklin.
Ah, well, equally.
But it's Canada.
Well, but how could he found
Here's how. My guy, Ben. Man, he was something. Okay. Ben Franklin founded a postal service in 1753.
Wow.
Oh, that's... Okay. 1753 came up with the idea in the service of the colonies. So the postal service that he came up with was for the 13 colonies and Canada because they were all under British rule. Right. So
that was pre-USA because...
exactly. So the beginnings of this sense of postal delivery was from Benjamin Franklin, and that's how Canada's postal service got started and how the U.S. Postal Service got started. And Canada's going to pretty much fold theirs because they're saying they're still going to be in business to do this and that and the other thing. But as somebody said, wait a minute. If the Canada Postal Service is going to stop delivering mail to save cost, How isn't that like Starbucks no longer serving coffee because it's expensive? I mean, if it's your basic thing that you your raison d'etre, then
but
why
it may
do
be.
it?
My first gut thing was that. Yeah, that was about expenses, but it's probably because less people. I mean, the amount of times I mail something with a stamp.
Fewer people, by the way.
Yes, excuse me. Fewer is. Thank you, Miss.
It's one of my.
Yeah, well, all right,
okay,
you're right. I appreciate being corrected.
Okay,
that I don't know how many times, like a month, I don't use a stamp. Like most of my bills now are either direct paid through my bank account.
Yeah, I don't buy as many stamps as I used to. I don't buy it. We aren't, but. By the way, price of stamps keeps going up and up and up, of course. And in Canada, the price of a stamp is 85 cents.
Oh, my God. Wow.
No, will increase under this.
They're
going to increase to 85. It's now 63, which is still more than ours.
To take a flight and visit the person rather than send them a Christmas card.
But so it's funny. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you're going down, you raise your service gets reduced, your price goes up. How's that going to save you? It's a recipe for disaster. So this is the beginning of the end.
In a weird way, it may be once again. Now. Cards. I almost sort of at Christmas time. Another card. And
you know what? They're not coming anymore. I don't.
Oh well, I know they're much reduced.
Few.
Oh, I remember when my parents in the 60s, you would get hundreds.
Yeah, I know.
But I think it may turn if this is something that will happen in some form or fashion in the States. Maybe getting a card will be something special. 30 years from now.
Do you know I got a beautiful handwritten note the other day, and it's so.
Well, that's when it's those personalized.
It was from my niece, from Susan's lovely daughter, and it was thanking me for some Hanukkah gifts I had sent.
Yeah.
Well, I gave Hanukkah gifts to all the nieces and nephews. Believe me, she's the only one, and it's so rare and it's so lovely.
It's very touching. Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
these cards, I remember the first time we got one from one member of our family. It was years ago, maybe the 50s even.
I don't send them anymore.
And it was the first time, and it said, Eleanor and, what was his name? Anyway, Bombas, these were cousins. And they were in business. They were business people, so they were sort of fancier part of the family. And it was printed. And I said, oh, that seems so, fancy. And my mother said, oh, well, they send them to clients and whatever. My father said, Eleanor's too lazy to sign them.
Well, yeah, right. But,
that is over. Then all you're doing is, and then nowadays, if you can print out the stickers on your computer, all you do is stick.
Some people just can't stop, though. They just can't stop. Anyway, for Canadians then, they still will get mail, but it won't come to their house. They will have, and Canada now says they will build these things, community mailboxes. So, there'll be these big...
They look like a mausoleum, sort of.
Like in every 6 blocks or something. Who knows? It would have to be. Because they say that if, for apartment dwellers, they'll still deliver to the apartment building because that already has...
I see.
So obviously it's a way of reducing the number of mail deliverers that you need.
Yeah.
So, just telling you that that will be coming this way.
I'm curious to see if that affects how we do things.
Well, sure. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. All my catalogs and junk mail, I'll have to walk to get them now. Like, why do I even want to?
Right.
I've
gotten less catalogs this year. Well,
me too.
I don't think I bought things so much.
Fewer.
You'll
get fewer catalogs.
I'm sorry.
We have to take a break. We have to take a break.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen live after this.
Just in time for the holidays, Little's Shoes is your UGG headquarters. Little's has the largest selection of UGGs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. Don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. All available at Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store. Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill or littleshoes.com.
Pittsburgh City Paper's special pullout, City Living at its Best, is available now. Pick up one today for a look at the all-diverse real estate options in the Golden Triangle. Plus, Rich Angler, Holiday Pops at Hines Hall, Nebraska, and News of the Weird. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania. And on the web at pghcitypaper.com, on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com, and check out the new CP Haps app, available for download from iPhone App Store and Google Play.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Catalogs, well, that explains it then. Huh. Okay, the Indian Supreme Court yesterday.
Oh, isn't that awful?
Unbelievable.
We should tell
Reinstated a law from 1861. Now,
the period of the Raj.
Can you imagine? Mm-hmm. Would it occur to them that there might be something not good about going back to 1861
yeah, right, exactly.
and saying, you know what, I think they had the right idea? Unbelievable.
Well, that's so interesting because 1861 was during the Raj, meaning when the British had occupation of India. And so that was, it was Victorian, and the Victorian laws were very punitive, etc.
But stop and think. What we're talking about is we never told people. Oh. They reinstated a law.
What is the law?
The law banning gay sex.
That's right.
And it imposes a 10-year sentence for carnal intercourse against the order of nature. So this is amazing. And you don't have to blame the British for this, because the fact is stop and think about India now. It's Muslim and Hindu.
Right.
Well, I got news for you. The Hindus are, those two religions, they don't
abide homosexuality.
What religion does?
Well, that's true, too.
I don't know. Beyond belief.
Well, it's conservative forces, of course, everywhere, not just in the West.
Okay. Oh, my God, was that my last piece of paper I just threw out? Where? Oh, God, I'm naked. I don't know what to do. Was that it?
I guess so. Well, let's see. Let me look and see if I've been...
No, don't start paging through the paper. Don't.
I won't
let me. No. McCutcheon. I still haven't seen it. But
what is that? I don't know who McCutcheon is.
Oh, my God, he doesn't know.
Oh, it's a sports person then, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a pirate.
He's a Pittsburgh Pirate. He's charming
is he
and
the one
adorable.
Who's won the award for
and he won the MVP award.
Uh-huh.
And
well, see, I knew that.
And he was on Ellen DeGeneres' talk show.
Uh-huh.
And they called his girlfriend up from the audience. And he proposed to her. And you know where he met her?
She worked?
She worked at PNC, and she was one of the little girls who runs around and helps the pirate shoot T-shirts and hot dogs at.
Girl, yeah.
See, she was a cannon girl.
Well, I don't know.
You don't even know. You're culturally illiterate.
Well, you didn't know about Paris's burning honey
No,
bomb.
that's true. Well, you're
that's
just
far larger. No, it's not.
You're so effete.
No.
I know you think that just because you know all about art and
No.
look down your nose
I do not.
at the popular culture when you don't even know a cannon girl from a cannonball.
That sounds like a southern. He didn't know a cannon girl from a cannonball.
Okay, so they have this air rifle-y thing.
All right.
And they shoot. It can shoot things into the crowd, way into the crowd. And so at certain periods during the game when nothing is really happening on the field, because often in baseball teams are changing position. And,
I know that. Yes.
And so they shoot two items.
Yes.
Sometimes they shoot rolled up T-shirts.
I see.
And you cannot imagine, anytime something's free.
Oh, of
do
course,
people go nuts? Everybody's jumping. Me.
Like a home run.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I gotta have it. And the other thing they shoot are very tightly wrapped hot dogs.
Oh, that's disgusting.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
People are starving. Read about the food banks.
No, but people eat them.
After they've fallen on the...
Well, they're they're wrapped. I can't believe they're warm anymore, but has anyone ever caught one of those things? I have always.
Someone
You
must
have?
have.
I haven't. I have a friend that.
You did? He caught a T-shirt or a hot dog? But anyway, to think of it, you start as a lowly cannon girl, shooting hot dogs, and you end up marrying.
Rags to riches.
Marrying God, the heartthrob.
Only in
Andrew.
America, only in Pittsburgh would this happen.
And it's also local. He got her the diamond at Orr's Jewelers in
Oh,
Hill.
my heart be still.
And she's a local. She's from like Beaver County or something.
And when
I
they
don't know
walk up the aisle, they'll sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
I don't know. Oh, dang.
Talk about descending from important issues, from the memorial service of Nelson Mandela to this McCutcheon Tootsie.
Well, it's better than anus bleaching, which is where we started the week. So let's,
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, God, I'm sorry I brought it up then. Never mind. You might want
Well,
to
you
go.
don't know about the McCutcheon Tootsie. Maybe she's an anus bleacher.
No, stop it.
You brought it
Stop
up,
it.
Queen.
She's so pretty, so lovely. Oh, the two of them together are so gorgeous. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Youth.
Is wasted on the young.
Well, yeah, it is, and you can see how it is. But on the other hand, youth is by its very nature beautiful.
Well, because
You can't look at a young person
true. I mean,
and not
because,
see beauty.
but the other thing, yes, but part of it is, I think, the truth, but also the nostalgia of they have not yet undergone the torques and twists of life. They have not faced life.
They have
and
not
death.
lost their innocence.
Yeah, well, nowadays.
No, they've lost it.
At 11th grade in the bathroom.
No, but it's just the sort of, I'm even talking just the shell. I'm just talking physical.
No, sure,
You know,
the body is at its
It's just
prime.
so beautiful. They're so beautiful. I mean, and I know that they don't necessarily know they're beautiful because
Oh, I don't know
when
about that.
No. I do know because I know when I was youthful, I don't think we all thought we were beautiful. Some did, but others thought all they could see were their flaws, and so and never thought that there was just that they just resonate. There's something. Youth by itself is beautiful. I think. I do.
All right, I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Okay. Do I sound like an old lady pining for my... No, I don't think I do. Do I? If I note that youth is beautiful, does that make me...
You sound like...
Jess, do you think all... See,
Bummy
you're not
Lynn.
old enough to agree with me on that. Jess would not agree.
with
You can? I look at any like 20, 21, 22-year-old and on get teenagers, and I just they're all gorgeous to me. And it's not like they don't think, the ones that aren't like beautiful, like we think of beautiful in that very limited way.
Yeah, yes.
I see that everything is
But see, the only thing I would
beautiful.
say about that, I agree with you in principle.
Okay.
But I think nowadays, though, with all of this fascination and obsession in magazines and TV and what have you, that rarely do you see a young girl even.
I didn't know this. This is so good.
Well,
so
that's-
Colette writes, the hot dog, when they shoot the hot dog and you catch it, the hot dog wrappers have a I never know how to pronounce it. How do you pronounce that? Coupon or coupon?
Oh, I've heard both. Coupon. I guess
Coupon. I say coupon. Have a coupon on them, and you turn in the coupon to get a fresh hot dog. I've seen people eat the shot ones, but they've been wrapped for about 4 hours. They look disgusting. See,
dogs.
I eat both. I'd eat the one, and
Thank you, Colette. I appreciate that.
Well, because didn't you ever eat raw hot dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're cooked already. They're not raw.
Well, that's right, but that's why they don't have
just
to be
warm.
heated up, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but
if they're warm or
but the
coming.
mustard and whatever on them with a bun.
Well, I don't know that
like
I don't know.
dog's
that they
breakfast.
I don't know that they dress them. I think it's just a plain old hot dog and a plain old bun.
Well, I can't wait
wrapped
to
in
go to game to catch a day-old hot dog.
Well, it's just fun.
Tradition.
It's just
Tradition.
It's just fun. Oh,
I think they should have a knish. A knish can be shot through a tube.
Well, that's true too.
A delish knish.
A cabbage roll. Ooh,
but can you imagine that all gushy? Well, you know what's funny about it? There's actually, I saw this just the other night. What is that? Subway sandwiches, you know. They have a commercial where someone shoots a Subway sandwich out of a gun like that.
No. That's Get Go.
Oh, well then, all right. The same thing.
And I don't even watch much TV, but I did see these Get Go ads. Yeah, I did. So I just happened to look over at my to-do list for today. Never you mind.
Rob a bank.
No,
Botox
here
treatment.
the first two. It's sort of listen to my day. It says gutters, gynecologist.
Oh, is your gynecologist going to come over?
No.
And clean out your gutters?
My gutters.
That's kind of funny. Throwing him shade. How are your gutters, honey?
Gutters and gynecologist. The gutter. You see, I usually do clean.
Okay.
Get up on my roof.
Okay.
But the leaves. It was so late that they all came down. But now, I don't know.
Well, they have these machines I've seen where you can get a blower inside.
I don't believe in blowers.
Oh, all right.
Blowers make noise, and if you go up on the roof, you go up on the roof and you can
see the world.
Yeah, it's a whole different
I
view.
stood on the roof in my home in Pittsburgh and I saw East McKeesport.
No, I love it because you see a whole different thing. And usually one of my cats comes up on the roof with me, and it's a whole other world up there. I do enjoy it.
This does not put me in the realms of seeing Walt Whitman on your roof speaking poetry.
But I do think it's too cold today to do that. But I
think that's true.
I'll get
But it's not too cold to go to the gynecologist, unless he's an Eskimo.
She.
Oh, she. Okay.
I don't know how any woman... I don't know why men go into gynecology, because if you're a woman, why would you not
I have a female doctor.
Yeah.
Well, why is that different from
I just think a woman would know more, just in a very intuitive sense about.
All right.
I mean,
all right, I'll give you that.
Been there, done that kind of way. I don't know. I don't know. So I think we've petered out, so to speak. Hey, I was reading about how some poor guy with unbelievable pelvic pain, which was destroying his life, after doing tons of research, found that there was a doctor like in Colorado who could help, and he goes to him and then finds out that just as the doctor has been closed down from seeing any males because he's a gynecologist. The doctor was a gynecologist, but because women often have pelvic pain issues, it turns out he knew how to treat a guy who had that too. But the gynecological oversight body said it is absolutely you cannot treat men. A gynecologist.
Well, it's like, you just...
Why would that be?
Well, it's just like we talked about this, about the Dallas Buyers Club. A lot of those drugs for AIDS or other sort of things, when they're in experimental stages, they're drugs, like let's say they're saying Botox is useful against migraine.
Right.
Etc. So the guy would be because they would say that a gynecologist is a very specially trained person, and he's not trained in the male reproductive and urinary systems. Now, to me, if someone has a brilliant idea, what kind of experimentation has happened in all sorts of someone just says,
it's crazy.
Remember the Italian who found the thing with the balloon? We talked about that, of extracting babies.
He wasn't Italian, he was Argentinian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're absolutely right.
Right. And he figured out something that doctors never could, and he was a car mechanic.
Yeah, car mechanic. Because he was an engineer, and he knew something about the thermodynamics
of... a thing.
Or hydro whatever.
He was a thinker.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, we're done. We are so done. And anyway, I have to go see a gynecologist.
Good. And go out, even though the Pirates are no longer playing. Maybe someone will shoot you a moldy old hot dog.
Just talking about hot dogs makes me think, I don't eat hot dogs.
Well, down the street you can go
there's
to
one
that.
Wiener World right down the street.
That has a picture of Andy Warhol
and Carnegie.
Carnegie sitting under hairdryers at a beauty salon.
Yes, and Warhol is reading a book. Do you know which one?
Oh, I don't remember.
He's actually reading Fences by August Wilson.
Okay, so it's a reference.
Yeah, it's a third Pittsburgh reference. There it is. Anyway, you guys, thank you for tolerating us. Don't you think that would be a reasonable thing to say?
That was light and heavy today.
I don't know what the hell it was. But it was, and now gone. It's gone. And
yes.
Chris Potter will join us tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay warm.
Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.